Welcome to A Walk in My Stilettos, where our goal is to help you walk in your greatness. I'm your host, Nkechi Smith. Hey, Faith Walkers. Thank you for taking the time today to join us on the A Walk in My Stilettos podcast, where we have conversations with amazing women that are letting us step into their shoes. I help women to own their stories, conquer their fears so they can reach their goals. But I get inspired when I see another woman succeeding. But what interests me more is her backstory and her mindset on how she got there. So today's guest is about to bless us with her testimony. And since you're already here, you may as well subscribe. Today, we have Nkechi Nwafor-Robinson. She's an entrepreneur, author, professional athlete, inspirational speaker devoted to uplifting people and helping them live more fulfilling and purpose-driven lives. She's an executive in technology at TD, one of Canada's largest financial institutions. Nkechi is involved in the fitness industry and competes as an IFBB Professional Bodybuilder. She is founder and CEO of Empowered in My Skin, a movement that provides human beings everywhere with tangible actions they can use to maximize their true potential, helping them to become leaders in every aspect of their lives. Please welcome to the show, Nkechi.
Yes! Woo! I want to meet that girl. The reason I did the woohoo is because you said my name. Like, Nigerians that watch this, because Nigeria's going to watch this, are going to be so proud of you.
Thank you.
They'll be like, my sister got her name right. So.
I love it. That's hilarious. And because my name is Swahili, so people always ask me, how do you pronounce it? I'm like, Bikini rhymes with bikini.
See, people mess that up, eh?
Oh my gosh, you would not believe.
You get McTiny? You get McTiny?
I get McKinney. I get everything.
Mackany?
Everything under the sun. Mackany.
Mackany, right?
Yeah, everything. Everything, girl. Everything.
I get you. I understand. I told you, but you did a great job.
Thank you. And it's funny. So I love to actually start the show with an icebreaker question. And I believe that as women, we have all these different titles that we go by, but a title that's not given enough significance is our name, because our names have meaning. Mm. And I believe that every time someone says your name, they're affirming who you are. So Makini means strength of character in Swahili. So my question to you, Nkechi, is what does your name mean?
Character. That is so you. That is so beautiful. Wow.
Thank you.
So Nkechi is the short form for Nkechi Nwafor. That is my actual given name. And Nkechi Nwafor means God's gift, what God has given. And my name, and I actually love that you say that, because my name has been a really big part of who I am since I can remember. Just a quick, short story. When I was 6 years old, my parents, we grew up in a affluent white neighborhood in Montreal. And my first day of school, I was holding my mom's hand. And I walked into the class, brand new class. I was the only Black kid. And all these eyes are looking at me. And the teacher says, "What's your name?" I said, "Nkechi." She's like, "Oh." And she comes over and she bends down. She's like, "Is there an easier name we can call you?" And I'm like, "No."
Yeah, exactly.
That's what my mommy calls me. That's what I'm going to be called. And ever since then, like, I'm okay to have a conversation about my name. I'm okay if it's the first 5 minutes of an introduction. Like, I'm okay with that, So our names are truly important. So I love that. Yeah.
And I always find it interesting when we're asked as people of color if there's an easier name that someone can, refer to us as, if someone is Greek or, Jewish or has another name that is also complicated. Like, I had a lot of friends' last names like Papadopoulos and, things like that. Yeah. No one ever asked them, can we have an easier name to say?
No. Wow. And I play piano. I mean, people can name Tchaikovsky, all of them. So they can name his name. They can call me. But yes, exactly. So.
Absolutely. So you spoke about when you were a little girl. So I'd love to know, what did you want to be when you were a little girl?
Oh, gosh. So in truth, I wanted to be, my diary literally says, I want to be a dancer. But I think that I'm gonna go into computers at the age of 6, And
wow.
And I love dancing, so I would often be trying to emulate Janet Jackson and the Jackson 5, and I used to enter variety shows. And but in truth, the polar opposite of that was I used to love to program computer games. So my dad was more inclined to give me computers than dolls, even though I had a black cabbage doll kid that was like my doll. But yeah, I followed my brother, and we used to create like games on our Atari and Commodore 64. I know I'm aging myself, but yeah, so computers was a natural inclination from an early age as well.
Wow. You know what's interesting? So I didn't know that you were in tech until, okay, so we were connected on social media, but I never really got a chance to know you. And when we were at the Archangel Summit conference, which is like a conference for thought leaders and coaches and stuff like that, we got a chance to pretty much spend the day together. We had lunch together. And I have to say, for anyone who does not know you, your energy, oh my gosh, you are like life. I'm going to call you a life bringer. You give me life. Your energy is so infectious. You're such a high vibration that it is impossible to be sad or in a bad mood around you. I don't know if you've ever experienced anyone around you in a bad mood.
You have to interview my husband, but I like to say that, he would probably say the same as well. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, I mean, I loved getting that opportunity to get to know you even further. And I remember saying to you at the end of that day, I would love to have you on the podcast at some point, because what I did know you for was your fitness journey. And I knew that I had seen online the Empowered in My Skin movement. So I want you to share with us, what was the intention behind the Empowered in My Skin movement when you started that?
Yes. Sure. But first of all, I just have to actually, if you believe in the law of attraction, I want you to really understand this. The day I went on to iTunes and subscribed, I don't even know, can you actually see when people subscribe?
I can see analytics.
Okay. So the day I subscribed, I can't imagine that it was it might have been like the day after or 2 days after, where you asked me to be, it was such a close proximity. It was wild. It was crazy. I love it. I've been meaning to subscribe. I came across the post and I said, I'm going to listen to a podcast right now. And the first thing I did was I went to your first one, because I always like to know the why behind it. And I was hooked, so I just love what you're doing, by the way. You are super inspiring. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, so sorry, your question was about
I wanted to know the intention behind when you started it, because sometimes when we start an initiative or a movement, the intention behind it ends up being very different from how it turns out. Like, for example, this podcast. Right. So I'd love to know what the intention was behind Empowered in My Skin.
It was born out of a time where I literally was working on my self-realization, self-improvement, development journey. And I literally started to feel so good in my skin, so good, levitating, and I remember saying to my husband, I want everyone to feel like that, and I just wanted to go to town, and I didn't even know what that meant, but I started to say, I feel so empowered in my skin. And literally, I started to say that, and then I started to share that with a friend of mine, and she's like, you should host an event. And she held me accountable to that. And I did. I hosted just the first Empowered in My Skin event, and I didn't incorporate, I just called Empowered in My Skin. Somebody helped me make a logo. I created this event I prayed for one woman to show up. 38 women showed up. And I used it as a way to introduce onto a platform other women that had helped me in my journey. So at the time it was, I brought on women who pushed me, who inspired me, conquered cancer, my makeup artist that had a super talent, and another woman that left a marriage that with her 2 boys didn't know what she was going to do, where she was going to find a job, and is thriving, and that was it. It was really about creating a platform where people that inspire me, I can give them the stage to help amplify their voice and inspire others. And it grew from there. I joined forces with Julie. We started co-creating events out of, she's now started her movement. So we're getting ready.
For those who really don't know, go ahead, explain who Julie is.
So Canada's own Julie Black, yes, Queen of R&B, yes. So she's my best friend of 23 years, and you're just so like-minded, and we just have such a passion for uplifting people. And she founded 100 Strong and Sexy, And so now we're co-branding and joining forces. We're getting ready to really dive into another conference. But also beyond that, to your point, Empowered My Skin started giving me voice, right? Like I was bringing other women onto the platform, never intended to speak, never intended to really share my personal journey. And I recognize that I've become the brand. You know, I'm literally empowered in my skin. I became empowered in a very different way as a leader, and a leader without title and a leader with title at TD Bank. And I've brought it into my organization, and now I just recognize it's almost becoming an opportunity for me to help other people develop their personal brand, right? So I'm growing it out. I officially incorporated, and I want to start to brand it as a personal branding company. So I'm going to start to do training and figure that out myself and expand and see where it goes from there. Because I just want people to be empowered. 4 corners of the world, like empowerment it's the keystone to changing the world. It's the lead domino, as Tom Billiard said once, the lead domino that really can change the world, right? When people are empowered.
I love everything about that. So one, I love that you've partnered with your best friend, Julie Black, to build an even bigger, stronger brand, because I think you are both very strong women in both how you're presented physically and in spirit. And I love how you've incorporated that into what you do corporately, that the fact that you've incorporated that and saying like, I'm serious about this. This isn't just, a side hustle. And in terms of the part about, helping other people build their personal brand, I'm automatically putting my hand up, volunteering, whatever you need. I am here. I will provide as much value to that as possible, because I strongly believe in what you're doing. I think it's beautiful. And, when you spoke to that point about, you're welcome. And when you spoke to just you being your brand, you being empowered in your own skin, I think it's very important to be a product of the product. If there's anything that I learned about building a personal brand is being, I'm definitely a product of my product. So the women that are assigned to me or that come to me know that I've walked that journey with them. That I can totally resonate with what they're going through.
Right. So that's why I was saying that when I subscribed, the first thing I wanted to do was, I was already inspired by you, but I said, before I listen to anyone that she interviews, let me understand her why. And through your why, I just fell in love with your journey. Like, your family is beautiful.
Thank you.
Honestly, you had me radiating. Anyway, it was an amazing day. I went through so many emotions, and it was a bikini day. And I'm not just saying that because I'm here with you, but you opened up my heart, and feelings, emotions. So you emulate a walk in your stilettos, and I love how you're using this platform to also introduce us to other women and get to know them in a deeper level. And at the end of the day, connect in a way that's just so magical. Love it. So thank you.
I am going to do my best not to cry right now. I have tears in my eyes. I have goosebumps on my hands. Thank you. Sometimes you begin something based on your own journey and what you need. And I've felt very much in this journey of trying to be a better person and walk in my own greatness that I needed support. I needed people that were willing to collaborate, or people that I could connect with. And there were many times where I didn't have that. And I started to look for that in collaborations in the US, and I was successful with that. But I was like, I live here in Toronto. Why can I not build that here? And part of what I do with the podcast is I share 50% US women's stories and 50% Canadian, because I believe there are amazing people here in Toronto like yourself that need to be on more podcasts, and your story needs to be told, and it needs to be a part of history. And I got very emotional. Actually, you posted the other day IGTV post, and I watched it and got emotional, because just in your transparency in what you are feeling in that moment, and you even thanking me for inspiring you, those are the things that keep me going on the days where I don't know if I want to do this anymore, or when it's hard, women like yourself. So thank you.
Yeah, you brought that out that day. I even remember where I was. I looked out at the water, and I was like, wow, I'm going to be on your podcast. Anyway, I just can get emotional now.
So I'd love to know what inspires you the most about what you do.
I would say I love, and I think women who are listening to this, we absolutely need to brag about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I love when my energy can fire people up, like perfect strangers, like people that I don't even know, that might have entered a moment with me feeling dejected and leave feeling better, fired up, more value for themselves. And I recognize that that's just an extension of how I want to feel valuable, right? Like I want to feel my value. I don't need people to tell me I'm valuable. I want to feel it. And the way I recognize that I'm feeling it now is through the eyes of others, and taking that in, and really receiving it. And I recognize that as I receive, I also want to give, because I know that I'm not alone in that. And it's that can see that, like, I can walk off an elevator, like an elevator ride with me is not going to be boring. And I will walk out of that elevator fired up into a lobby, and that lobby experience is going to be exciting. And I just continue to carry that energy forward. Like, and it just multiplies. Like I don't have this energy because I get a lot of sleep, I have this energy because I feel fired up. My heart is lit,
That passion inside of you, I definitely feel that in your presence. Like I said, like that energy that you exude, a high vibration. So I do believe that, an elevator ride with you will never be boring. You are, well, you just said, like, you're in such a lit, like you are a fireball. There's no doubt about it. I love it. So
it
I want to ask,
like, it doesn't come easy. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can only imagine. And I don't know what part your fitness journey has to play in that, but I would love to know, what would you say to a woman that wants to make fitness a part of her lifestyle?
Oh my God, this is so big. So I'm just going to share a really quick story, because I'm not going to drop a name. I had an experience to meet and greet a world leader. And I knew that I wanted that experience to be totally awesome. And I knew that it was going to be like 20 seconds, because it's really just a photo opportunity. You're gone. And so I took care of my appearance, and I also didn't plan what I was going to say. I just wanted to feel it in the moment. And so I knew practicing presence would be essential. Anyway, now in lineup, I see, like, I'm with a good colleague of mine who's also a great friend and colleague at TD. And we see her, and just the magnetism is it's just crazy. And then it's our turn. And she broke protocol by hugging us first, maybe because, she saw likeness in this.
Yeah, and your energy.
We take a picture. We take the picture. And before I can even say, what I'm so grateful to her for, she says she wants us to be a part. She looks at me and says, I want you to be part of my women's wellness initiative. Go and talk to her chief of staff over there. And so I share that because fitness is not something you do. It's who you are. So your heart fit, your love fit, your nutrition fit, your you know what I mean? Like it's a way of being. And then when you choose to be fit, then you're going to do things that will contribute to that. And that's how you stay in it. And so I share that because it's who I am. And so for me to be able to have that 20-second experience now open up an opportunity for something like beyond my wildest dreams. I don't even know what will come of that. I know something will. It's just this reinforcement to encourage people. Don't look at fitness as something to do or something you do. Adopt it as who you, like, let it become who you are, the being of it.
There's two things that come to my spirit as you're saying that right now. Okay, first, I'll go to your point about being a part of who you are. And there's a podcast, I believe it was Jay Shetty's podcast, and he was interviewing, was it Robin Sharma? I think. And he was talking about, how important it is. So mindset is only a quarter of what we should be practicing, and how there's heart set, there's soul set, and health set. So those are the four sets. So when you were speaking, that totally came to mind. The other thing, because I'm getting goosebumps, and lately my gift with this is actually scary. So I'm like, in my head, I'm picturing a woman, and I want to say this person's name, but I'm feeling like that is who you had this experience with.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Permission to guess?
Yeah, it is that person. Yeah.
Oh, you're reading my mind.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Like I just, it is that person.
So the reason, okay, can I say the name or no?
I was trying to share the experience, not
yes,
necessarily.
Totally get it.
Yeah.
No. But okay, so here's the reason why I'm saying this, because immediately as you said that, two things. The reason why in my head I got this person, and actually it was like at first one of two people, and then as you started to speak more, I was like, no, and it went back to the first person I thought of, which was Michelle Obama. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes, it is right.
Amazing. Yep. So I actually interviewed Komal Minhas, and she interviewed Michelle Obama on her tour in Ottawa just a couple months ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And we were just talking about her energy and how, especially, with other women of color, how she, like you said, she broke protocol and embraced. And, Komal was sharing how she had embraced her and what she said to her. And so when you were speaking, and because I watched a fireside chat live with Komal being interviewed today, speaking about that experience again, I don't know, everything just clicked a while ago. And you're talking about law of attraction, and I'm big on,
there you go,
Bob Proctor. So everything wow. Okay. So
it was a magnetic experience. Yeah.
Wow. So I would love to know what advice you would give to a woman that is struggling with her identity.
Oh, wow. I'm a You Matter junkie, and I struggled with my identity for a really, really, really long time.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the power of affirmation. Mm-hmm. I didn't believe I was phenomenal. Like I would say I'm phenomenal was the affirmation I stole from Maya Angelou. And I just continued to say it, but it was more about following that journey to where it would lead me. And what I would say is your identity matters. Like it absolutely matters. Like who you are matters, and every experience that you have been through is actually needed. Mm-hmm. And if you can get to that quickly, to that realization that nothing, absolutely nothing is a wasted opportunity, like there's nothing, no adversity that you have faced that was wasted, and start to figure out how can you find the message from it? How can you find the pathway that it's opened up? How can you live out of the opportunity that it's presented? Then you're going to start to fall in love with your identity, and for me, it really required me ripping out. Like I had to go in, and the way I went in was, listening to, here's what I said the other day on a podcast. Like it got to a point where I recognized that and I'll use this word lovingly, but it was arrogant of me to think that all of the problems that I had were mine personally. Mm-hmm. Because the minute I start to share, like listen to your podcast, right? Like all the women that share, it's not like, I don't know, how many people have you interviewed now?
Done over 80 something, but I've so far, I think, published about almost 70.
Okay. So for the ones you published, I don't know that there's 70 different problems. You get what I'm saying? Like there's 7.5 billion people in the world. There aren't 7.5 billion problems. There's a collection of problems that we all go through at different levels, different stages, different ways, different journeys to get there. So it was arrogant of me to think that mine were my own. And so to any woman, like if you can walk into that while it might hurt, you're not alone. And the same way we Google for trips or clothing or this, any other, just Google whatever you're feeling. Mm-hmm. And watch the ocean of information that's going to open up for you to start to explore and see what other people have experienced. And suddenly when you don't feel alone, then you recognize this is not yours to hold. And maybe then you can start to let go of it and say, you know what, I want to find the person that's in that problem. You know what I mean? And pull out the message and make it rich and use it and leverage it and let it light me up for some good.
I love that.
That's what I would say.
I love that. There's a few things that you said that totally brought some thoughts to mind, where there's a song that we sing at church and the chorus is like, my life is not my own. Mm-hmm. But I also use that when I think of everything that I've been through. And instead of saying like, why is this happening to me? It's like asking the question internally. Okay, so why is this happening to me? What am I supposed to do with this? Mm-hmm. And a lot of my experiences that I share online or with the women that I coach that are assigned to me, it's using it as a tool to help them get through what it is they're going through. And as much as, sometimes when you're in the midst of the adversity or whatever issue that you're dealing with, it sucks and it hurts. But what were you supposed to learn from that? You know, sometimes we sit there and we're in pity party mode saying, why is this happening to me? And can't this be somebody else? Or, looking at it with the wrong perspective. But if you flip it and use it for service and use it for how it can be a lesson to yourself and others, because like you said, there isn't, the 70 billion problems or whatever. It's collective. Someone can listen to your story and pick from it the lessons that they need for their life.
Exactly. And that's a beautiful thing, and don't get me wrong, like to those that are in that place where, well, I don't really know who I am. That is part of your identity. Like even just accepting that, like accept all that is, just start with that, just accept all that is, and then start to get curious and explore. And you will slowly start to take the steps towards getting more clarity on who you are and coming into the real of you, the truth of you. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey. And I want everyone to go in it. That's why we do what we do, Makini, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So speaking of the truth of you, what's one thing that you wish people knew about Nkechi?
I have a really soft heart. I live very close to my emotions. It, in an instant, I can, I'm so present right now that I can cry, and cry because there's somebody, Makini, that we're touching in this podcast. I don't know who it is, but in this moment, she's raising her hand, or maybe even he's raising his hand, I mean, a lot of people see my energetic, bubbly self, so they might not know that, and that's why this year I decided to really share some big parts of me that I didn't even know what it would reveal. Like I recently shared, and I feel the emotions coming, my journey with infertility. And some people wouldn't know that I've been married for 18 years, but for how many ever period cycles I've had, I'm always hopeful. That's 18 years of hope,
Right.
And it hasn't stopped. I think there was so many emotions like anger, resentment, frustration, but with the release of the story this summer, I feel I have faith. I have a hope. I really, you made an earlier comment. I don't want to ask God, why have we not been blessed with children? In full transparency, it was one of the things when I was listening to, I just randomly picked some podcasts, and then I was intentional on some of the ones I listened to on your podcast. But most of them, all the women had children, and it's just to hear them speak about them, I was like, oh man, I want that experience too. I don't hide that, well, now I don't hide it because I recognize that I'm not alone. And in sharing my story, I think there's way more women that I know have been challenged with infertility than I even thought or imagined was possible. So that's something that a lot of people wouldn't know. I don't have kids not because we didn't want. It hasn't come to fruition yet.
Wow. Well, thank you for sharing that. Wow. And I know that is definitely something that is not easy to share. And just when you take some time later and you want to directly select some episodes that you can resonate with their story. I had on episode 62, I had Marina who shared her infertility issues and how she's been able to heal from some traumas with that. There was also Chantel Amsterdam on episode 49 that shared her fertility issues, and she ended up adopting. And there was also, I think, Jacqueline Genovese shared her infertility issues as well on episode 40. So just a couple of episodes, if you're looking for some specifically on that.
And shout out to Chantel. What she wouldn't know, and I should probably call her after this and tell her, is I was invited to speak on a panel at Black
Moms Connection. Yep.
Yes. And I know that I think they assumed I was a mother. So when I got the questions, I was like, I'm not a mother.
Wow.
So we yes, I was still part of the panel, and we just approached my questions differently. But at that conference, Chantel shared her story, and she talked about fostering. And it was the first time I ever even thought of that as an option. So she gave me hope.
Wow.
That we've been very linear in terms of our approach now. And then we got to a level of exhaustion. And so now it's really about, okay, do we want to be kids? Like that's the conversation that, would say that I want to see us open up to as a couple to talk about, really. Yeah. And it's tough. It's very tough. Yeah.
I can only imagine. I would love to know if you've had any coaches or mentors that have helped you along the way on your journey.
So both informally and formally. And so earlier on, like if I think about mentors and coaches, probably well, I've been playing sports forever, so I've always had some type of coach. You know, even if I think about like even just getting into fitness, like I've had very specific and intentional coaching for certain skills or activities I was involved in.
Mm-hmm.
But then in terms of like development, like the personal development, I would say my mentoring really started by observing people that I admired, right? So it'd be people that, you know, executives that worked in the organizations. I've always been very blessed to work in big corp.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been able to, and I became an executive really, really young. And I became an executive without training, right? And so I had to learn on the job the skill of being an executive. Yeah, the skill of being an executive. And so I did that all through watching people that I wanted to emulate, you know?
Yep.
Then when mentoring became a thing in corporate, then yeah, I had very intentional mentors, and typically it was always for a time in my career. Like I haven't really had a life mentor, but a time in my career where I needed to grow to the next level. And so I wanted to put some focus on my financial acumen or, you know, leadership or this, any other. And then now I have an amazing executive coach. She's a powerhouse of a woman. Her name is Victoria Pelletier. And I would say that she's going to help me with life overall, like just becoming a strong entrepreneur, a better leader, and just really kick ass in my discipline and my value. And then other than that, I think like everybody, the virtual mentors, like I was mentored from your podcast. I was mentored, you know, from listening to TD Jakes or Oprah Winfrey or the School of Greatness or Ed Milet or, you know, you name it. Right. Yeah. So yeah. And some of the best advice I've ever gotten from a corporate mentor was, as you want to climb and as you want to grow, ask the people that are in a position to tell you, what do they say about you when you're not in the room? That has been the most powerful piece of guidance that I've ever achieved, because I'm like, yeah, you know what? I don't want to know what's great about me.
You want to know what you can work on.
Know where, right. I want, I am okay with constructive critique. You know, I'm okay with those difficult conversations because I want to be stretched. I want to be superhuman, you know, and you don't get to superhuman by the niceties. You know, you get to it with those hard to hear aspects of yourself, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. I love that you spoke to the virtual mentors piece because, you know, sometimes people feel like, okay, well, I can't afford a mentor. I can't afford the coaching fees or whatever situation they're in while they can't invest into themselves at that moment. But finding people online that you are inspired by. But a piece from that is, so one, you can take qualities or look at their journey and see what you would like to emulate to get there. But two, don't just admire them for where they are and all their greatness and their glory. Actually look at their story of where they came from, of what they've had to go through to get there. And that's the main reason why, you know, I have women like yourself on to share those things, because social media shows you the highlight reel. But behind the highlight reel, what did you actually have to do? What's the tough stuff that you had to do? And then the other thing that you spoke to in terms of what's said about you when you're not in the room, I'm a firm believer in getting the constructive criticism. And it's good on you for wanting to grow, because some people don't want to hear the tough stuff. You know, their ego runs from that. And when you are open to the constructive criticism, you're open to the death of the ego so that you can grow and you can evolve. That is such a beautiful thing. Like I have friends, and I can probably say it, there's about 3 of them where they can be brutally honest with me and it will never hurt my feelings. You know, there may be people that don't know me.
Friends you want.
Exactly. Because they sharpen you, right? Iron sharpens iron. Those are the people that will tell you when you are doing the most, or, you know, in a loving way, or when you said something that's disrespectful, or when you're doing something that makes you look in a negative light, or what have you. And, you know, they'll tell you, like you said, what's being said when you're not in the room.
It's important. And I'm going to tell you, like, those people that you have in our gift. And I often say the friends are the ones that spread the water. Spiritual partners tip the boat to teach you how to swim. And like what you have are some spiritual partners that care about you. That's big, man. You hold on to that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had a tweet there like, yo, people, hear what you said, the death of the
Death of the
ego. That's where it's at.
Listen, I'm trying to stay humble, okay? I'm trying to stay humble. People don't even understand sometimes, because I am so intentional about staying humble. When people do the fangirl stuff when they see me in public, I get thrown back. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, when they start screaming like, oh my God, you're Makini. I'm like, that. No, I'm just Makini. Just calm down.
Yeah, no, I'm just going to go fangirl for a minute. Makini that's had a billboard in Times Square. Hello. A picture, a mentor with Bob Proctor and his wife. Like, hello. I think my husband was impressed on that because he's a Bob Proctor, like, junkie, right? Like, yeah. So I was like, look who's going to interview me on Tuesday.
And it's funny that even when I tell that story of how I met Bob Proctor, it was totally, how do I say this? I mean, the Coles Notes version of it is, I was selling real estate at the time. My phone number was on the internet. Some complete stranger loved the positivity that I tweeted, called me and invited me to meet Bob. And I thought he was totally blowing smoke up my behind. So I told him to send me an email. He did. And I attended this event to meet Bob, and I thought it was going to be some big, huge conference. And I get there and it's a room of like 30 people, and Bob is at the door greeting people. And I was so introverted at the time, and I'm still introverted, but I was ridiculously introverted back when this happened. So my nerves were shot, and I went and sat at an empty table by myself. And an older lady came over, and another younger woman of color came over and sat with me. And we just started talking. She started asking my story, and I started to share. And she's like, oh my God, that's so inspiring. And she's like, oh, you need to tell my husband your story. And I said, who's your husband? And she turns around. She's like, Bob. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
So she calls him over. I have to explain all over again. And then she goes up to introduce him to the room. And she says, before I bring up Bob, I want to tell you about this inspiring young woman that I was just sitting with. You guys have to hear her story. And I'm like, no, don't do this. Don't do this. I wanted the floor to open up and swallow me. And
oh my God.
And I couldn't handle like the attention. I didn't want all the eyes on me.
Yeah.
And that day I ended up staying after and having a one-on-one conversation with Bob. And I ended up, his wife like fell in love with me and gave me her cell phone number, and we connected. Wow. She ended up writing the foreword for my first book. I've spent time in their home. They've mentored me personally. Bob, his daughter Colleen, and his wife Linda. Totally mind blown, totally changed my life.
Wow.
So yeah, they're amazing, amazing people.
That's awesome. That's God. That was God's day for you, because that's him
God.
pulling you out and saying it's time. Like this is
definitely.
And I'm going to do it big.
Definitely.
And I'm going to make you uncomfortable.
Really uncomfortable.
And watch what happens. Look what happened. Oh my God.
Absolutely.
Wow. One of the things, because we often forget that, like we both talked about mentors, virtual mentors, and listening. But here's the thing: there's nothing more profound than the action. And so, for example, to all the people that are listening to this, like I watched Makini and I took action. I got her gratitude journal because she speaks about. Oh, sorry, I'm talking to you like you're not there, but like what I and I don't know you, right? But what I got was the strength of your relationship. And I'm like, I don't have to hashtag relationship goals. I could take from you, learn from you, receive from you, and apply that also, right? So what did you use? What tools have you used? Oh, she uses this journal. Let me go online, got it from Amazon. It was delivered today. I'm excited I've shown it to my husband. Like we often listen, but we don't take action. And I would always encourage everybody, even from this conversation right now, don't waste your 45 minutes listening to us. Bring the value by taking an action, because that's the decision that will change your life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of action, because of all of the things that you do and, remaining as fit as you are and being a wife and running empowered in your own skin, like what does your self-care routine look like?
Woo! Oh my gosh. Okay. No, I say that because self-care is so important, right? Like, and I think it looks different for everybody,
Absolutely.
So I wake up weekdays, especially at 4:00. It's a non-negotiable. It doesn't matter what time I go to bed. 4 a.m. is my wake-up call. And so if it was 5, it was 6, it's whatever. Part of my self-care is the consistency of my wake-up. Okay. For me, it's 4. So, and the reason why is because the more routine you could drive in your life, the more results you'll get. That's self-care.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if it's not 4, let it be a consistent time. As soon as I get up, I pray. I do my affirmations. So I have amazing memorized affirmations. They're the same every day, but I'm locking it. Like, they feel great, and I use them throughout the day. I then listen to a podcast or something on my way to the gym. I put my body through a peak state, like, so to really alter my state in the morning. So my time from 4 to 8 is very precious. And then I take I'm trying to get to the cold shower. I'm out of the hot. I'm into the warm. But cold showers, I really want to get there, because I do believe in that, from a self-care perspective. They wake up and shock your body and get you ready to kickstart your day. I do put my phone off from 7:30 until 8 a.m. in the morning. And there's only a few people that can break through that silence. Because I come off social media, definitely at 7:30. I don't need to be knowing about anybody's life after that, before 8. I read as part of my self-care. This year I'm going to introduce massages. So I wrote in my success planner, maybe quarterly massages. I think that's important. I don't tolerate injury anymore. So if I'm feeling like right now I have a pull behind my leg, I go and get treated. Before I would ignore that, but no, like, I should feel good when I wake up. Like, when I wake up, when I do the body scan, I want it to propel me out of bed,
Right.
And yeah, so I do it that way. As energetic as I am, in the evenings is really my downtime. Like, I get quiet, and I use that opportunity to just feed my soul, my spirit, taking some solo time. I think that's important. Vacationing. My husband and I just came back from Jamaica, and now we want to introduce, like, even vacation number 2 in a year. Like, so 2 vacations, one longer one shorter one. So that's part of my self-care regimen. Having a strong tribe that feeds me is part of my self-care. So I have really, like, my tribe is so cool. Like, they're so cool. Like, there's not a conversation I have with them where I don't come out feeling like, okay, it's time. Like, where are we conquering next? What planet? Like,
right.
You feel rocket ship conversations. There's no rear view mirror, right? And so, spending time with my husband. Now we're going to be doing this. I love introducing the gratitudes into that. That's self-care. I do my gratitude journal myself. I'm doing Michelle Obama's journal, which is amazing. Like, if you take that in, by the time you finish it, you pretty much have a book. Like, if you think about it, a short story in your life. Have you seen it?
Is that the one that goes with the one that accompanies her book?
Becoming.
Okay, so I've read Becoming, but I didn't get the journal.
Oh my God. It was gifted to me. I would personally wouldn't have bought it, I don't think, because I have so many journals. But when I opened it up, I realized that every page has an intentional ask.
I love that.
And yeah, and it's about you finding your voice in those different aspects of your life. Like, what was your favorite meal? Like, oh my God, I had to think about, like, and I realized that, like, by the end of it, you can have a short story. So that's part of and I do a lot of, so in my bag, I got this from Julie, but it really is so healthy. I have aromatherapy oils, like from sage. And so I have, I don't remember all the names, but the ones that I would use during the day are the ones that awaken your senses. Right. And then the ones I would use at the night are the ones that, take you into calm, state of calm. I drink a calm tea in the evening. I like that. Oh my God. Sorry, you asked. That's why I get so excited. Like,
no, I love it. I love that you have so many routines. I love it.
It's just little things throughout the day. Hydration is so important. So, like, if I can ask anyone, is just throw the juice away. Just like, sometimes the best step to your health is just to make one small improvement a day or a week.
Absolutely.
Just water. Take in water. And now part of my self-care is stopping to drink using aluminum bottles instead of plastics,
Yep.
So taking care of the environment myself. I bought a car this year that is like my quote unquote, like it's my pre Maserati treat.
Yeah.
So I decided, it's just treating myself, that, stuff like that. So yeah, and I think that covers it. Oh, I'm good. I do my nails. Like, I took some time off doing the gels, but I'm going back to that. Like, all of those are self-care. I love color in my life. So coloring my hair was self-care, because
I love the red hair.
It's spicy. Thank you. And my car is colorful. Like, yeah. So a lot of people think self-care. I think we overcomplicate something sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Putting on comfy clothes when I come home after work is self-care. Like,
yes.
Who wants to be in tight up stockings and,
yes.
in your house, right? So yeah, self-care is anything that makes you feel good, and it's good to feel good,
I love that you pointed it out, because sometimes people think that you have to do all of these extravagant things like, go to the spa or whatever. But the things that you listed about having a routine, about what time you get up and your movement and reading and like having the simplest things, but creating a positive habit will change your entire life. And I think that people need to get that point, like big time. I think
that.
Again, maybe it was Robin Sharma I was listening to, but have you heard of the 5 a.m. Club?
Yes. He has a book.
Yes. So he has a book, and he was on a podcast, but he was breaking down, even if you can just get up 1 hour earlier a day, that's what I've committed to as of last week, getting up 1 hour earlier a day, but the first 60 minutes of your day. So 20 minutes of movement, whether that be exercising or whatever, 20 minutes of reflection. So journaling, gratitude journals and reflection. That could be even meditation. And then 20 minutes of learning. So that could be the reading or anything like that. But that's having a massive, productive 1 hour first thing in the morning.
And look how simple it is. Like,
absolutely.
Oh my God, look how simple it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Listen to that, people. Yeah. Right. Honestly, you don't even need to read his book. McKinney just told you.
I just gave you the 20-20-20 rules. Yes.
Right. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that.
So there's this article that I came across on Reader's Digest, and I love to use it every episode. And so far it's been on point, because this article says that your favorite type of shoe says a lot about your personality. And I would love to know, what is your favorite type of shoe? Is it a boot, a running shoe, a walking shoe, a flip-flop, a flat, I don't know, pumps, wedge, mule?
So I actually realized that you're going to ask me this question. And it's interesting because I have the shoe that I would love to see on my feet. and then I have the shoe that actually lands on my feet. So if I had my way, I would try, I was like, what are you attracted to? Like, if I see a sea of shoes, I'm attracted to like a heel boot. Like I definitely, but I don't like, unless of course it's a platform. So what you see me in and what I feel great in and how I bounce in life is I'm in kicks, right? And typically I will look for kicks that have a style, like either a bling or whatever. And I wear them with business dress. Like, I will be in a business dress and kicks and rock it on stage or an executive room or this, any other. So kicks are my thing, but what I would like to see my feet in is a really stylish boot. Yeah.
Okay. So, let me see. So if we were to go with the high heel boot, so high heel boot wearers take charge. In the event of a crisis, the person who loves wearing high heel boots will always be the one to take control of the situation. They're quick on their feet and able to make clear, rational decisions. This woman is exceptionally self-assured, so people around her feel instantly safer in her hands. The high heel boot is a take charge kind of person, and she loves being center stage and is very assertive.
Yeah, so that's me.
That's you?
I can't lie. Like, I worked in technology, data centers crashing. People can't access their telecom and all this. It was all about taking charge and bringing a sense of calm and understanding to the situation and getting things back up and service ready. And I do that and I apply that in all aspects of my life as well. Like, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Yeah.
But now what's the sneaker?
Oh gosh.
Maybe it's a mixture of both.
Let's see. Sneaker buffs get along with everyone. You're someone who relates to people much younger than you, yet also feels comfortable conversing with someone much older. Sometimes you're an old soul and sometimes you're the life of the party. For sneaker buffs, age is truly but a number because you get along with everyone. The sneaker is very versatile, a very open person willing to explore a lot of options and different ideas. They're energetic and ageless. They're really not old or young. Does that sound like you too?
Yes, it does. But that's what I'm saying. So you see, it's so. I love that article. Oh my God, yes, both of them landed me. I would say,
awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, I
love
love that. Thank you. That was awesome.
So tell the people where they can stay connected with you online before we go to the final segment.
At Empowered in My Skin, I should promote the most, Facebook and Instagram. I am very active on LinkedIn, using my name, which will be in the podcast, I'm sure. And then also Nkechi_IFBB Pro if you want some fitness tips or just life tips and all this on Instagram.
Awesome.
Something that just because you talked about the 20 minutes wake up, I'm actually going to post a video of something like a workout, like just an exercise that you could do in those 20 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to need that.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
I am going to need that.
I will share it. Yeah.
I will definitely have all of your links directly in the detail section so that they can connect with you directly. They won't have to search too far. So the final segment of the show, I call it A Walk in Her Wisdom, where I just ask a couple reflection questions and you say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Name a book that has changed or greatly impacted your life.
A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson.
Ooh, that was quick.
Two concepts. Yeah. No, because it is. It's the start of my personal journey. She talks about love and hate. Babies are born into love and we learn hate. And I just want to learn hate and just leave from a place of love. Yeah.
Wow. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Name one of the most worthwhile investments you've ever made. And that could be money, time, energy.
My marriage. It's been 18 years of growth. And where we're on today, I commend us both for going the extra mile. It's an investment. It really is an investment. And it's, yeah.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I'm a lover of love. So that is beautiful. What new belief, behavior, or habit has improved your life in the last 5 years?
I would say no to negativity and saying yes to things that serve me.
Okay.
Serve my spirit. Yeah.
And if you could have a gigantic billboard anywhere with anything on it, what would it say and why?
So it would be a picture with my brightest smile. It would say, my smile is my logo. Your personality is your business card. And the way you leave others feeling after an experience with you becomes your trademark.
Ooh, I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well, thank you, Nkechi, for taking the time to join us. I truly, truly appreciate you. Oh my gosh. I love your energy. Thank you.
Thank you, Bikini. Keep doing what you're doing. And just you, I am going to reach out to you for some specific help, to be quite honest. But just like you offered, I offer up my heart to you. You are doing some phenomenal work. I love how you celebrate women. I love how that looks.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will promote you. I'm a huge fan.
Thank you. Don't make me cry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Oh my goodness. And to all of you faith walkers out there, until next time, subscribe on all platforms and rate the show and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Join the community of faith walkers and sign up for our weekly newsletter at awalkinmystilettos.com and grab one of my personal development books available online everywhere. And if you can think of one person that would receive value from today's show, if you can think of one person that needs to hear Nkechi's testimony, please share it with that one friend. Be sure to screenshot this week's episode and tag us on Instagram. You can tag Nkechi at
Nkechi_IFBB Pro.
And you can tag myself at The Real Bikini Smith and continue to walk in greatness in your stilettos in a manner worthy of your calling.